What is going on? Good people, we are back once again. The Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, and I mean always, an instant classic. And a couple of updates for you guys, if you guys may be listening, because you can listen now instead of just, watching, because I got glasses on. I can't really see as much anymore. I think I'm hitting Casey's age nowadays. But anyway, um, but we are available on Anchor, on Spotify, and a couple of other options that they sent me as well that I don't know right off the top of my head. Trying to work on my background here, trying to spice it up a little bit so you guys don't just see my plain wall all the time, or whatever. But it's gonna get to a point where if I turn this way, I got one set. And if I turn this way, I got another set. Well, not a set. It's more of like another background that I need for other things. But nonetheless, we want to encourage you guys to subscribe, like, share, and all that good stuff before we get started for our YouTube audience and also for our Anchor and other, audiences as well. Be sure to share if you like the show. Jump right into it. If you set up as well. With all his 2 million,
There.
3 million belts, and his little people on the other side as well. But anyway,
Okay, that's not gonna work. I'm gonna fall off the edge of the bed.
you know. Nonetheless, we wanted to get on here and talk a little bit about the was it WWE 24? Because that's what I named it. So I hope it was.
Yeah, the Edge 24 special.
What? I don't know the exact title of what it was called, but basically it was all about Edge's return, and it was interesting because Edge talked a lot about how initially what this was supposed to be, and then how it kind of pivoted and changed, which I think made this episode unique because we're not used to seeing. We're used to going to a certain point and we know where it's going to go, but you're not used to it starting in one area and then ending in the entire opposite area. So it's pretty cool, and I thought it was pretty cool to see all the stuff that he did outside of wrestling. He talked about that openly. Even before he came back, he talked a lot about what he did outside of wrestling, which was cool. Some of the acting stuff and stuff like that. But nonetheless, Casey, do you have any thoughts on kind of this whole episode? I enjoyed it. I thought it was good. I always enjoy the documentaries. I am a big documentary person anyway, so I simply enjoy documentaries a lot. But thoughts on this documentary?
Yeah, I also am a big documentary fan. Anything, especially wrestling documentaries, and I just went away. There I am. Oh, and there I am. I don't know if I like this. Oh, anyway.
Mainstreaming you. Not that I got to get my charger or anything, but
For anyone just listening, they're gonna be so confused. Like, what is he talking about?
What's going on?
Yeah, so DJ is playing with the cameras. So, yeah, but I also am a fan of documentaries. I'll watch. I watch a lot of documentaries. Wrestling documentaries. I watch a bunch of documentaries on Netflix. A couple on Disney Plus, and anything else. Like even on like YouTube, I'll find a random documentary or something that interests me. But I definitely like this one. I haven't seen all of the WWE 24s, but this one, from the ones that I have seen, this one has been, I think, my favorite. Just because, like DJ was saying, it started at one point where it was just supposed to be 24 a documentary about Edge in general and how he's been doing since he had to unfortunately retire, which was like 8 years ago, I think, which was insane to me. Like, it does not seem like it was 8 years ago. Like, I remember him announcing that like it was yesterday. Like, it's crazy how time goes by. But then it changed to his return, him coming back, and it all stemmed from his return. I think I forgot what pay-per-view he returned at initially, or show he returned at initially, but it was in his hometown, and I think it might have been a Raw. one of them. But he returned. He did some in-ring stuff that he wasn't planned on doing. He did a spear that wasn't planned. And then he said also just the stuff he'd been doing outside of wrestling, outside of WWE. He'd been doing a lot of stunt work and acting and doing his own stunts. So, that kind of made him think, maybe I could, come back, because doctors told him he would never be able to wrestle again. But uh, luckily that was not the case. But overall thoughts, I really enjoyed the documentary and kind of getting an inside glimpse of his life outside of wrestling and his journey back to the ring.
It was interesting too to hear him say, he talked about the whole, what did he say? He said it was like, this is something that you'll never see from anybody probably ever again. The whole retiring, retiring with the intent that you won't ever come back, and then, coming back in the way that he did. And I guess Daniel Bryan is very similar to that as well.
Yeah.
Retiring, being, forced to retire, thinking that he's pretty much done, and then, coming back from it. But nonetheless, I definitely think this was a good documentary. I'm definitely excited for more of them. Like we said before, the last video that we did, there's a couple of different other documentaries that I definitely want to watch. But in terms of this one, I like, I always like that kind of backstage look and like how people react to certain things. Besides the fans, because I think we always see how the fans react to things, but we never see how that kind of family of people react to things. We never see how, what it's like for them, what it's like for, obviously Beth Phoenix and kind of telling their story too, because I think like for a lot of us, it was like, okay, Edge is with Lita. Whoa, Edge is with Beth Phoenix. Like it was like this big like jump like out of nowhere, and we didn't necessarily know like what from the rated R superstar that we know and love, or hey, to what he is now, and kind of his real life now. That was interesting too. To hear about and how all of that kind of goes together. It was also interesting to see. Who was it? Was it Dash Wilder that worked with him to come back? No, I don't. Why can't I tell them apart? They don't even look alike. That's the bad part. I can't even tell them apart. They don't look alike. The recently released, one member of the recently released Revival. But nonetheless, it's funny, he helped him come back, dang it.
Trash.
What do you mean, trash? But anyway, it's one of the best tag teams to ever be released from WWE. Anyway, but that was cool, to kind of see their relationship, and I think it was cool too to see him working with the younger guys, as well, and going to NXT when he couldn't, when there was not much he could do, but kind of give his insight, going into NXT and kind of talking about that as well. But nonetheless, I'm excited about some of the future of some of the other documentaries. I guess I'll probably pinball off of you anything else I have to say about this one in particular. But I was thinking about this, and I kind of want to hear your thoughts on this documentary before I go off on any sort of tangent. So do you have any more thoughts on the Edge documentary, anything that you were kind of burning up about and you were like, man, like that was the part there?
I mean, just the whole documentary as a whole was really good. I definitely, as much as I became less and less a fan of the Revival, because if you remember, I liked them in NXT, and then they just, I don't know, something about them I just didn't like him anymore. But it was cool kind of seeing him, I think it was Dash, yeah, working, helping him in the ring, to get that ton of ring rust off, because man, after 8 years, there's a lot of ring rust. And like you were saying, there's certain things that he can't do with Beth that he can do with a guy. He said there's not much that he can do with Beth, but there are some things that he can't do with her. so he needed another guy to help him. And it was cool kind of seeing the history of those two, of him and Dash. The fact that he helped him get into the business. He helped Dash get into the business. You know, I think he said they met it at a gym that they were both working out at, and Dash never told him, never mentioned to him that he was a wrestler or anything, and he found out on his own, which I think definitely heightened the respect that he probably has for Dash, because I know a lot of indie wrestlers who, right, the first thing out of their mouth would be, "Oh, hey, I'm an indie wrestler," blah blah blah, which a lot of guys don't want to hear. Like, just for me, like I'm not like a huge star or anything, but I work I work enough shows and stuff that, like, there's times I don't want to talk about wrestling. There's times where I just kind of want to, like, let's talk about something else. Let's talk about, the gym, or let's talk about video games or a TV show or something. And I think that kind of added to the respect that he didn't initially just walk up to Edge and be like, "Hey," or Adam, whatever you want to refer to him as, and say, "Hey, I'm an indie wrestler." He kind of let him find out on his own. But I think it was cool that he helped him kind of get his job in WWE. And then, we got to see a lot of history of Edge and stuff like that. Like the fact that he and Christian did get into the business together, and he kind of showed a sort of, I guess the best way you could describe this, kind of a time capsule, or like a box that Edge's mom had saved with all of his old stuff, gear that he had drawn up that had been made, which was really cool. I never knew that he drew his own, like, designs and stuff. That's pretty cool. And just different things from, when he was a kid to his, time in the independence, which I think a lot of people don't think about. These WWE legends, they did all, for the most part, have to go through the indies. Back in the 90s, we didn't have the WWE Performance Center where, if you're lucky enough, you'll get a shot. You had to, like, me, myself, and other guys in the indies that I know have to do. They had to work, small territories and, small promotions and things like that to make it to where they are. And I think a lot of people don't realize that guys like Edge had to do that. Even guys like Cena, as much as I used to dog on Cena, he still worked the independents. He still trained. He still did all that stuff. So that was kind of cool to see a little bit of, like, the backstory of, like, how he, became who he was. And again, seeing him interact with his family, with his kids, with his two daughters, and Beth, was kind of cool. And then just seeing him backstage, like you said, interacting with some of the younger stars, or not necessarily younger stars, but for him, younger stars. Like Tommaso Ciampa was talking about how, he used to watch him growing up, which is really cool to kind of, would be awesome to have, like, somebody that you watched growing up be able to learn from them and, like, talk to them. And
well, too, he got to learn kind of about rehab and stuff like that, from him too, from somebody who's had a serious injury. And even, I can't remember if that was before he was planning on coming back, or I think it was before, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because coming from somebody who, felt like they had done all they could do, and just trying to give back, which was cool. I love too. One thing I love about documentaries and even social media to a point is, like, it gives these celebrities and guys that we kind of look up to and kind of almost feel like they're untouchable in a way. It gives us a way to not only communicate with them, but, like, see them as humans. I think probably more so in, like, the 80s and the 90s. Before the internet really became what it is now, and social media and all of that, it was hard to get in touch with them, hard to see their family lives, hard to see them as actual people. They were just so, unattainable in a way. that now I think, even watching this documentary, you get to see him hanging out with his kids and playing with his kids. You get to see him, talking with Beth and talking to some of the other superstars, and kind of hear his mindsets and things, and kind of see him kind of be a normal person in a way. I think sometimes, especially wrestling documentaries, are very driven as they should be on wrestling. And sometimes it's cool to see what else do you do outside of wrestling. you know, and that's I think why I think especially today, connect more with celebrities. When there's a celebrity death, it kind of hits everybody in a way. Because we connect with them a little bit more. Even some of the older guys who are now on social media, or who we're kind of now seeing their lives a little bit. I think we still connect with them in the same way, which is cool. So I definitely, that's what I enjoyed about the documentary, kind of seeing things that you don't always get to see. And I think we say that a lot, in terms of when we talk about documentaries, but that's kind of the cool part about them is, getting to see some behind the scenes stuff that, you never really get to see on the surface.
Yeah. And then also kind of going a little bit off topic, but with like the social media, it kind of helps you see like what, like you said, what these guys are really about, like what they're really like. And I think in a lot of cases, it almost forces them to be a little bit more humble than they might have been, back before social media, because everyone is seeing what you're doing. Everyone is seeing what you're tweeting. Everyone is seeing what you're posting on Instagram, and things like that. I mean, even at the school that I trained at, like our trainer will tell us, like, you know, social media is important, but watch what you post on there. Like, watch, because you're a public figure now. So it kind of helps, like, gives the fans an inside glimpse onto like what these guys really are like and what their lives are like. And to an extent, it kind of can be an invasion of privacy, because people will take it, across the line. But at the same time, I feel like, when you got into a business that is very public, and fans, knowing that fans are going to want to know everything about you, so it's kind of like, that's why I'm always like kind of torn when I see like celebrities get all upset and like, fans are, they're going too far and blah blah blah. And it's like, yeah, there's a line, but you're a public figure and you kind of got to deal with it. um but I think that kind of helped. Like, that's the big change with that social media has brought, and things like, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. There's so many different social media apps out there anymore that people are getting on. A bunch of WWE superstars and AEW superstars are now getting on TikTok too, which is even kind of, in a way, easier to kind of communicate with them, just because like you can see one of their videos and duet their videos, so they'll be able to see you duet their video, and like you can comment and stuff. So I think in a way, a lot of social media is getting closer and closer to like interacting one on one. But at the same time, like, remember, they do need their privacy. They do have their own lives. So it's like, it's a balance. So, but I definitely like that we kind of got to see, going back to the topic, a little bit of a tangent there. But I like that we kind of got to see a little bit more of a glimpse into Edge, because I feel like there's a lot of WWE superstars that we still haven't really gotten that, inside look on. You know what I mean? Like, and I think Edge was one of them, where like there's a lot of things here that I learned that I didn't know about him. A lot of things that I did know, but there was quite a bit that I learned.
Yeah. One of the things that I've been thinking about, especially watching The Last Dance, and that just premiering this week. I'm sure you're enjoying that one yourself. But being you're a Bulls fan, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to say that because I knew Justin's also a Bulls fan, so I didn't want to say didn't want to say that you were. Anyway, Supposedly a Bulls fan, he says he couldn't. But nonetheless, it's interesting because I really hope that Kobe's death puts some things into perspective in terms of doing more documentaries, especially for some of these older guys and even current wrestlers. And I like that WWE's doing a lot of WWE 24s to at least give you a little bit of a documentary feel on even some current guys too, and a lot of their current guys. But I was thinking about it. I was like, I'm sure that people at ESPN wish they would have. They're probably working on a documentary on Kobe now as we speak, but I'm sure they probably wish they would have started earlier. And I think, a documentary like this is one of those interesting ones, and it makes you think like, what documentaries can they be making, now that kind of, to make sure that you don't miss out on it, make sure we don't
Yeah.
miss out on it, but also as a producer, don't miss out on it either. Um, you know, I'm interested to see what they do with, some maybe even like Hogan and guys like that, you know, where they can actually speak on, their time, in the limelight and their time. I mean, well, obviously Hogan's still in the limelight, but they're kind of their time as wrestlers and kind of at the top.
And I think also just in general, not even just for older guys and like legends in whatever, not just WWE, but like NBA, um, NFL, MLB, entertainment in general. I think even more current people they should be doing documentaries on just to kind of give fans a glimpse into the fact that like yes, these are celebrities and things, but we all are. They're all human. You know what I mean? I hate to be cliche about it, but we all put our pants on one leg at a time, and I think that kind of might help with the whole like phenomenon and like fanatic side of fans. Because celebrities all over just get bombarded by fans, and it's like you know it's great to be a fan of somebody. Like I have always been one of the like a huge fan of Michael Jordan. Like I always say I think he is the greatest basketball player of all time, and no one can fight me on that. LeBron sucks. Shut up. I sorry that I got angry, but like at the same time, I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan. But you don't see me like trying to find where he lives or like if he's in a certain city. I'm not like there trying to find his hotel and like stalking him.
I mean, is that on record?
Listen, I did it one time. I did it one time, and it wasn't Michael Jordan. It was Alexa Bliss. It's no, but like I think these that would help a lot and like cut that down because like at the same like I said, yes, they're celebrities. Yes, you want to meet them. Yes, you want an autograph. You want a picture. But like they have their own lives. How think about it this way: how would you like it if somebody like followed you around constantly, begging you for a picture and an autograph and like talking your ear off? You got to think about it that way. And I think making more documentaries, kind of showing the real life and like real daily things that these people do would help a lot with that. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of celebrities out there that are flaunt their wealth and stuff, and like those don't do documentaries on them. Don't no, not them, not them. um, but I think definitely doing more documentaries would be a good thing. And I think just in general, a lot of people these days like more documentaries. They like reality. They like to see what's really going on.
Yeah, I agree. Um, I don't think I have anything else to say. Do you have anything else to say? Should we wrap up or should we continue for 30 more minutes?
Michael Jordan is the greatest basketball player of all time. Nobody can fight me on that. I don't care what you say. LeBron is not the king. And rip Kobe, but like he won't the best either. And Shaq, Shaq cool guy, but he won't the best. And you know,
What
uh,
about what about that Bill Russell though? What about that Bill Russell though?
He was good. He was good, but he ain't no Michael Jordan. I almost said Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is the king of pop still. That's a little bit more of a questionable one, but yeah, I don't know. I don't have anything else.
But as we wrap up,
Peyton Manning is the greatest quarterback all time.
inaccurate. But anyway, we're going to sign off here. Appreciate you guys for tuning in or listening in or whatever you may be doing. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you're on YouTube. Be sure to give us a like and share if you're wherever else you may be. Nonetheless, oh yeah, follow us on Twitter, ICW_podcast. It's under me, under my face if you're watching. But nonetheless, we'll see you guys on the next one. Not on the whatever Casey says
The
stuff.
flippity dippity, oh yeah, Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time, and
Bye. Bye, y'all. See y'all. I ain't dealing with this man no more.
peace.